Tonight, the scene shifts to the Bronx, and the Yankees' biggest star will be in the lineup tonight. Aaron Judge sat last night. The Mets have brought all of their stars along as well, including Pete Alonso. He'll be in the lineup tonight at first base. Yoenis Cespedes will get to play the field for the first time in a couple of years as the Mets and Yankees wrap up this home-and-home exhibition series. We're, meanwhile, at Citi Field. There's nothing else going on in the ballpark, but we're here. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to our booth at Citi Field and to the game tonight at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. This is the way baseball is going to be broadcast in 2020. Visiting television crews will be broadcasting from their home ballparks. We have an array of monitors. We should be able to see enough of the game to bring it to you in something close to our customary fashion. Meanwhile, there was news made by the Mets today here at Citi Field. Ronnie Jacob DeGrom getting ready for what he hopes will be an opening day start Friday. Looked awfully good.
Whenever these years start like this, and this is a historical start to the season, you're looking for some good news. There's been plenty of bad. And when he had tweaked his back, you weren't expecting that maybe he wouldn't be ready for opening day. But today, 60 pitches, 9 out of the 14 batters he faced, he struck out. So he treated the Mets hitters like he's been treating Major League hitters the last couple of years.
So that was the news for DeGrom. There's more news to be made tonight. Yoenis Cespedes, who was in the lineup as the DH last night, tonight, Keith, gets a chance to play in the field.
Well, we know that Cespedes can play all 5 aspects of the game. He is tremendous fielder, tremendously strong arm, and accurate. It's all about his ankle, his feet. Can he play the outfield? Last night's ball game, hit a ground ball in the hole, could have beat it out, didn't really kind of pulled up a little bit, 3/4. We'll see how it plays out tonight if he can play that left field. I do think, I said it earlier, that he's going to be mainly DHing.
So it's the Mets and the Yankees. Last tune-up for the Mets before their opening day assignment on Friday night against the Atlanta Braves. Mets and Yankees from the Bronx, all the action on SNY. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Hyundai. Bring on the epic summer savings now at the Hyundai Epic Summer Sales Event. By Citi, proud partner of the New York Mets. By your local Honda dealers, visit one today. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com to see how much you could save. Receive the latest video highlights, up-to-date news, features, and more. Be a Mets insider today. Subscribe to the official newsletter of the New York Mets at Mets.com/Mets Insider. Today's pitchers presented by Truly. Corey Oswalt will get the start for the Mets tonight. We should see Seth Lugo. And you see the rest of them there. Sewald, Strickland, Shreve, Smith, and Blackham all available tonight for the Mets at Yankee Stadium. It's the Mets and the Yankees. Second of two. First pitch is coming right up. Here's your Geico Mets starting lineup tonight. Jeff McNeil, who sat last night, goes in the leadoff spot with Brandon Nimmo down to number 8. No Wilson Ramos. He's away on a personal issue, and so Rene Rivera gets the start behind the plate. You see Cespedes in left field and J.D. Davis doing the DHing. Otherwise, the unit that the Mets are likely to run out on opening day.
Well, Jordan Montgomery, his 2019 season, just a few games coming back from Tommy John surgery. In 2017, though, made 29 starts for the Bronx Bombers.
Jeff McNeil leads off for New York. 318 average last year, 4th in the National League. Montgomery's first pitch of the night, swung and fouled at the plate, and we're underway. It'll be McNeil, Alonso, and Cano for the Mets against Montgomery, the 27-year-old left-hander out of the University of South Carolina. McNeil playing third base. That's where he should be the bulk of the time this year. And he takes the breaking ball low and away, 1-1.
And Jeff looks a little bit like he put a little heft on the chest area, a little broader in the chest. Got himself stronger in the offseason.
And he bounces one up the first base line. Voit has it behind the bag. Montgomery over to cover. McNeil retired for the first out.
And we'll take a look at the Yankee defense. They got their big boys out there in this game. LeMahieu, of course, at second base. Luke Voigt, who came over and did a terrific job for them, provides the power at first. Gary Sanchez behind the plate. This is their starting outfield, the big three right there. I'm a particular big fan of Brett Gardner. He is a hustler and a good glove, the Gold Glove right there in 2016 to prove it.
He's the oldest of their regulars and the guy who stayed the most healthy last year. Go figure. There's Pete Alonso. Pete had a couple of hits, drove in a run last night. Also made a terrific defensive play after an errant pickoff throw to gun down a runner at third. And he takes a strike from Montgomery. It is a measure of how much lineup construction has changed that you have the two greatest rookie home run hitters in baseball history in this game, and they're each hitting number 2 in their batting order. Alonso for the Mets and for the Yankees. And Pete goes after the changeup and misses, and it's 1-2. There's Luis Rojas. Got to manage his first game of summer camp last night. His first game as a big league skipper officially comes 5 days from now, where the Mets host the Braves on Friday afternoon. A change up from Montgomery, and it's 2-2. Montgomery broke in with a bang in 2017. 6th in the Rookie of the Year. Had a 3.88 ERA that year. But just 6 starts in 2018, then went down with Tommy John surgery and was able to return for a couple of appearances late last year. Pete fouls off the fastball, and it's still 2-2.
27 years old. Gary mentioned University of South Carolina. South Carolina native and drafted in the 4th round.
Not an overpowering pitcher, but figures to slot into the 5th spot in the Yankee rotation this year if all is well in front of him. And Alonso goes down swinging for the second out. So Montgomery has his first strikeout. There got Pete with the changeup.
There went the PC Richards.
A little breaking ball, kind of a slurve action.
Good slider
in
down
between
and
us. Yeah, in between slider and curve.
So 2 out and nobody on. And now Robinson Cano. Cano last night went 0 for 3, again hitting 3rd in the batting order as he did last night. And he swings and misses at a fastball, 0-1. Cano back in his old haunts at Yankee Stadium, where he banged out the majority of his 2,570 career hits. And he's down in the count 0-2. No cardboard cutouts in the stands behind the backstop, as there were at Citi Field last night. And Cano chases one, just got a piece as he banged it down into the dirt on the curve from Montgomery, still 0-2. Or did they call it a swing?
They called it a strike 3. Yeah.
Huh?
There's the music.
So there you go. Back-to-back strikeouts for Montgomery to finish off the top of the first. Yankees starting lineup brought to you by Hyundai. DJ LeMahieu leading off, and he swings and foul tips the first pitch from Corey Oswalt, 0-1. LeMahieu just back from COVID issues. Aaron Judge, who didn't play last night, same with Aaron Hicks, Gary Sanchez, Luke Voigt, Brett Gardner, all in the lineup for the Yankees tonight. Yankees who led the American League in runs scored last year, second in home runs, and a shot back to Oswalt off his glove. He has time to recover and throws out LeMahieu for the first out. I think that ball hit the heel of his glove, if I'm not mistaken. So Oswalt surviving the comebacker, and that's the first out.
Well, Oswalt 2 years ago made 12 starts for the Mets, but last year only appeared in a couple of games.
He had a terrific year at AAA last year. He made 16 starts for Syracuse, 10-4 with a 2.91 ERA. Hoping to match some of that at the big league level. So here is Judge. And he takes a strike. Judge last year limited to 102 games because of injury, just 112 games the year before, as he continues to be plagued by injury issues, and he pops one up in foul ground. Rivera gives a look, but it's on the dugout roof.
And he might not have been ready, Gary, if the season had started on time.
He wouldn't have been ready. Giancarlo Stanton wouldn't have been ready. Aaron Hicks wouldn't have been ready. I mean, the Yankees might have benefited more than any other team from the delay in the start of the season. In Judge's case, he had a fractured wrist in 18, an oblique last year, then a shoulder injury and a rib stress fracture in spring training this year. He smacks one in the air to deep left field. Back near the wall goes Cespedes, and that ball is out of here. Aaron Judge takes Corey Oswalt deep on an 0-2 pitch. And so Judge has given the Yankees an early 1-0 lead.
Boy, I thought he got in on him a little bit there.
I think he did. Still hit it out.
It's pretty strong, you know.
Yeah, all, 6'7", 282 pounds of him, not an ounce of fat.
Well, they're doing actual high fives. Don't see that much.
Oh, he got the barrel in on it. He got it.
You know, it's interesting is the pitch prior he had been jammed, and he didn't want to be jammed again.
Really pulled those hands in, didn't he?
Yeah, and wasn't.
Yeah, just enough, Gary, to get the barrel through.
Now Gleyber Torres hitting third in the order, and he fouls one out. Torres last night went 2 for 4, drove in a run. Just 23 years old. First 2 years in the big leagues. He's been an all-star in both of them. Last year, 38 home runs and then 3 more in the postseason. And Oswalt misses with a slider, 1-1.
It's really quite a deal for the Yankees, right? 2016 sent Chapman to the Cubs. He helps them win a World Series championship. They re-signed Chapman, and the player they got for Chapman for the Cubs, Gleyber Torres.
Torres last year split his time between second base and shortstop. Now the full-time shortstop with Didi Gregorius having moved on to the Phillies. Well, Luis Rojas saw his team fall behind quickly in the game yesterday when Rick Porcello gave up a run after the first 2 batters. Same circumstance tonight. The decision was made after Jacob deGrom threw his bullpen session on Friday to not have him face the Yankees tonight and rather pitch in a controlled setting, which he did this afternoon at Citi Field. And that certainly went well, but it's left Oswalt as the starter for this game.
It's a good decision, Gary. Anytime you have one of the most valuable players coming back from a little bit of an injury, you don't want to do it in a game situation.
Lined into right center field and a base hit for Torres. So Torres, 5 at-bats in this exhibition series. He's got 3 hits.
And we'll take a look at the Mets defense brought to you by Alexis. The Mets have pretty much everybody in their starting infield in there. Rene Rivera behind the plate. McNeil will get a lot of third base play. And in the outfield, the big question is, can Cespedes, the former Gold Glover, be able to cover the ground? He's playing in a very vast left field today in Yankee Stadium.
And Luis Rojas made the point of saying that if Cespedes was going to play one of the two games in this weekend in the outfield, that he wanted it to be at Yankee Stadium where there was more ground to cover, which I found fascinating. I mean, if he is fully healthy, he is a terrific defensive outfielder with one of the best outfield arms in the game.
Is that a gold belt?
And the fastball from Oswalt in for a strike to Giancarlo Stanton. Yeah, it
is a gold belt.
It's got a little bit of shine to it. And that fastball rides inside 1-1. Stanton 1 for 4 in the game last night, DHing again tonight, and that'll probably be his role for most of the season.
There you see Alonso not on the bag again. Did it last night, the entire game. Around 3 feet or 4 feet off the bag in fair territory. Remember, Bobby Valentine used to do that when he managed the Mets. He had Olerud doing that, as well as Todd Zeal.
Wow. Pete going with the stylish shoes tonight. 2 balls and a strike to Stanton. I mean, those are spectacular.
You think?
I mean, both he and Torres. Torres' shoes are spectacular too.
Well, spectacular, Keith, in that it's a spectacle. You can make of that what you will.
That would be good on a nice, the old-fashioned sky blue San Diego Charger uniform.
Lance Allworth.
Keith Lincoln.
And that cuts in for a strike, and it's 2-2. Stanton limited to just 18 games last year because of injuries. The Yankees scored 943 runs last year, with half their team hurt for most of the year. And slider away, and it's 3-2. Aaron Hicks, the on-deck batter.
I think Torres will be going here. Keith, last night he got thrown out stealing by Tomas Nido.
Rene Rivera working behind the plate tonight. Torres not a big base stealer. He stole just 5 last year.
Doesn't look like he's going.
And he's not. And Stanton went around strike 3. Good cutter by Oswalt to get him. And that's the second out.
Chased a bad slider there.
So 2 away. And now Aaron Hicks coming up. Hicks trying to hit the ground running after having Tommy John surgery right after the postseason last year. I mean, think about that. He will, if he's able to play opening day, and it certainly appears that he will, Hicks will go from playing the last game of the season in 2019, having Tommy John surgery, and playing the first game in 2020. Has anybody ever done that before?
No.
Off-season Tommy John not miss a game? I mean, he missed games during the season last year when the elbow went bad, but then he came back and played in the postseason. And then he had the Tommy John. That's pretty remarkable when you think about it, even with the delay in the season.
They signed him to an interesting contract. I think 7 years for $70 million.
Mm-hmm. And he pops one foul, and it's a ball and a strike. Well, there are the Yankees' offensive numbers from last year. The 306 home runs were 1 shy of a major league record, which was set last year by the Minnesota Twins, who hit 307.
And then someone will set a new. No, they won't this year.
No. Well, maybe home runs per game.
Yeah.
Right? Who knows? You know, we've yet to figure out what kind of baseballs they're going to be using this year. That might have an impact. 1-1 to Hicks.
Very impressive number with runners in scoring position. 294 to lead the American League. That is spot on, boy. That's clutch hitting.
Aaron Hicks is one of those players that just represents that sometimes you got to have patience. He was kind of rushed to the big leagues with the Twins, never really hit there. and has found a home here in New York.
Traded him for John Ryan Murphy, a backup catcher, and he has become a linchpin player for the Yankees. And he grounds one on the right side right into the shift. And McNeil makes the play to retire the side. Oswalt gives up the home run to Judge. 1-0 Yankees after 1. Long on SNY, the TV home of the New York Mets. Second inning, 1-0 Yankees. Jordan Montgomery, after a 1-2-3 first, will face Yoenis Cespedes to start the second. So you're seeing the game from Yankee Stadium, courtesy of pictures mostly provided to us by the Yes Network, as we provided the pictures to the Yes Network last night. And that will be the case all year, where the home regional sports network will provide the only feed that's used by whatever broadcast entities are doing the game. Now, we are sitting in our booth at Citi Field, and we have an extra sound effect here because there is a large fan that the grounds crew has set up right behind home plate that is, I don't know, you can probably hear it on the air, but just want to let you know. Cespedes grounds one to shortstop. Waiting on the hop is Torres, and he throws him out. One pitch and one away. I mean, it's kind of a gratuitous thing, right? Because now we have the low crowd hum that they're playing in the ballparks and whatever music and PA, but we also have the fan there, and there it is. There's the giant fan that for some reason they decided to set up behind home plate here at Citi Field. Just coincidentally with us coming on the air tonight to bring you this game from the Bronx.
It's been going back and forth. It's stuck right now.
When you first went there, Gary, I thought you were talking about Pavarotti.
Boy, that's the kind of fan you need on a warm, sultry night.
That's Kasi Fantuti.
There you go.
Here we are in our booths, our socially distanced booths at Citi Field, watching a panoply of monitors and trying to piece it together as best we can. I mean, I have to tell you, I've been doing baseball games every day for 35 years, and this is a completely unique experience for me. I've never had anything like this to try and figure out before. I don't know if you have any, experiences you can relate to this, but I have none.
I don't. In fact, I was just telling Keith that I'm looking more intently at the monitor, but I feel like I'm seeing less. So
I kind of feel like Ted Knight in Caddyshack.
Now, how do you figure that? And Conforto takes outside ball 4, and the Mets have their first base runner of the night. So 1 out and 1 on. Well, here's our home. We're going to be doing every game this year from Citi Field, regardless of where the Mets are. It's empty here, except for the fan.
What's going to be interesting, Gary, is we are assuming that when it gets dark, they will not turn the lights on.
No, I wouldn't think so.
It will be in the darkness on the field.
No reason to waste electricity.
That's
As long as they don't turn the lights off in our booth, we should be okay. Here's J.D. Davis DHing tonight. And Montgomery gets him out in front, 0-1.
I want you to know that I've already made the mistake twice. When a ball was hit, my eyes went to the field here, and then I realized there's no game here.
Crickets out there.
I have no idea where to look when, to tell you. Nice lead for Conforto at first. Slide step by Montgomery, and he throws a fastball by Davis, and it's 0-2.
What's that thing, Gary, they always said about broadcast? They want it to sound like three guys sitting at a bar watching the TV.
That's basically what we're doing.
Close as it gets.
Yep. You know how some kids who grow up dreaming of being play-by-play announcers sit in front of their TV and do play-by-play? I never did that.
No.
Doing it now. 62 years old, finally getting my crack. Breaking ball in the third, 1-2 to Davis.
That's de-evolution or something.
You like Devo?
Yeah, right? We are men.
DEVO?
Jordan Montgomery reminds me of a pitcher from the 80s for the Yankees, played for San Diego Padres also. Dennis Rasmussen?
Mm-hmm.
Does he remind you a little bit of him? Big left-hander.
Has the same kind of build as Jim Abbott, too.
Yes.
1-2 coming, and fastball fouled off. Doesn't have to be nearly as dexterous with his glove as Abbott was.
I'm laughing. Someone sent me the clip with Ted Knight and Caddyshack when he pushed the lamp across the desk. Oh, that's hilarious. My friend Dave down in Tampa.
He's got the change-up grip as Montgomery.
Conforto at first with one out. He may get picked off, and he does. Conforto leaning the wrong way, and Montgomery picks him off, and that's the second out.
I think they got him.
I think it was pretty clear that Voigt got the tag down on him in plenty of time.
That's the throw over
That's
there.
The throw over.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, did they steal a sign?
I don't know if he got the tag up pretty high there with the tag, but he got him.
I mean, Conforto's not going anywhere.
No.
It's a 1-2 count. It's not like you're playing hit and run. I think he just was deceived by the move. So 2 out and nobody on, 1-2 to Davis. And
remember last night's game, Brandon Nimmo stole a base off Zach Britton on his first move. As soon as he saw first move, he took off. Conforto picked off.
Conforto stole 7 bases last year, was caught twice. So Montgomery, 2-2 now to Davis with 2 out. And the breaking ball got him. Side retired. Third strikeout for Montgomery. Mets get their first base runner, and he's promptly erased. 1-0 Yanks. Home second inning, 1-0 Yankees. Gary Sanchez leads off against Corey Oswald. Sanchez 34 home runs in just 396 at-bats last year. And the Yankee catcher fouls off the cutter, 0-1. It'll be Sanchez, then Luke Voigt and Brett Gardner for the Yankees against Oswald, who gave up a home run to Aaron Judge in the first inning. Toss it to a fan? Nope. Not even a cutout to toss it to. I mean, are the Yankees not going with cutouts during the regular season? Do we know? They just
I don't know.
Delayed getting them printed. Just going to keep the seats, say, pristine blue behind the plate. Little tapper at the plate, and that'll stay foul. Picked up by Rivera, 0-2. Tonight's high-speed pitch is brought to you by Spectrum. Neither one of these guys overpowering. Montgomery with the 2 mph edge. Oswald throws a little harder than he did when we first saw him a couple of years ago, but still not his game to blow people away. His game is throwing strikes. Last year at Syracuse in his 16 starts, Corey averaged 1.6 walks per 9 innings. That's with the full shift on against Sanchez. This is low, ball and 2 strikes.
Like Rick Porcello last night, featuring a lot of sliders against this Yankee lineup, is Oswald.
Porcello hung one of those sliders to Clint Frazier, who hit one on the second deck at Citi Field. And Frazier goes after the high fastball and fouls it back. Oswald's going to be in that cadre behind the starting 5 in the Mets rotation. He and David Peterson, Walker Lockett, who worked in the simulated game alongside DeGrom at Citi Field today. And Sanchez fouls off another. One guy who might have been in consideration in that group and might yet be is Robert Gazelman, but we found out that Gazelman's been set back a little bit. He's had some triceps tightness, and so he's not throwing off a mound right now, rather just playing catch. And Luis Rojas, when we talked to him today, wasn't sure whether Gazelman would be ready by opening day to be a part of the Mets bullpen. That remains to be seen.
And Gazelman last year, had the tricep issue, so this is kind of a reoccurrence. Very thin-handled bat that Sanchez is using, like an S2. The S2 was, well, the old Louisville S2 was one of the thinnest handles you can get.
And it's on the outside corner, strike 3 called. Oswald picks off the corner to get Sanchez for his second strikeout.
Well, that's as true a fastball as you're going to have.
Yep.
That started on the corner and never left the corner. Good pitch by Oswald.
Yep.
So 1 out and nobody on. And now Luke Voigt, the Yankee first baseman, and he bounces 1 foul. Well, there is the Mets starting 5 in their rotation. DeGrom for certain on opening day. After that, the order is to be determined. Stroman, Matz, Porcello, Wacha. Porcello and Wacha, the newcomers.
Well, with Syndergaard on the shelf, the other 4 are going to have to pick it up. And like I said earlier, I think this is a big year for Steven Matz to step up. I thought he had a terrific second half and really showed some toughness, and I think it could be a big year for him. He's certainly, the Mets are going to need a good season out of him.
I think it's an interesting transition for the Mets because since Matt Harvey came up in 2012, the Mets have been a team that has been defined by their starting pitching. And of course, they still have the best pitcher in baseball in Jacob deGrom, but rather than have a staff of 5 aces as they perceived that they might with Syndergaard and Matz and Harvey and Wheeler, it's not that way anymore. And the 2 through 5 guys in the rotation, I think how they perform this year is going to have a huge impact on the success or failure of this team.
Gary, I think you make a good point. That's why I think they don't know who's pitching. So they're going to treat 2 through 5 kind of equally. So they'll look analytically at the teams they're facing and where each pitcher might fit best.
So Jeremy Hefner, the Mets' new pitching coach, there's ball 4, and Voit is on with a 1-out walk. Hefner, who is he was as delightful a person to be around when he was a player, and he's the same as a coach, and the pitchers are already raving. I mean, it's one thing to have a guy who has been just recently a player who can relate to the players who are currently in action. But Jeremy has also really gone to school on analytics, so he's really got the double edge of being able to bring to the table a lot of factors that can help these guys out. There's Brett Gardner, the veteran left fielder, now 36 years old, about to start his 13th year with the Yankees, and he smacks one into right field for a base hit. So Gardner has the 3rd Yankee hit. Voit pulls in at 2nd.
First ball, fastball hitting. Good situational hitting, but it's tough to get a runner 1st to 3rd in this ballpark here, Yankee Stadium, with that short right field porch. Right fielders can play shallow.
So 2 aboard and 1 out.
As a veteran move there by Gardner. Pitcher walks the hitter prior. He wants to get ahead of the next hitter. Probably going to get a fastball, and he jumped all over it.
Now Matt Duffy, apparently a big Jimi Hendrix fan, batting 9th in the order and playing 3rd base today. Gio Urshela played last night and made a couple of terrific defensive plays at 3rd base. But remember, he got hit in pregame warmups, stayed in. I'd have to think he's a little bit sore today. And Duffy, the former Giant, and Ray getting the start at 3rd base.
Well, it didn't affect Urshela's defensive skills. He had a fine night in the field, made 3 really nice plays.
And it's up and in, 1-1. Duffy was in spring training with Texas. They let him go in June, and the Yankees signed him shortly thereafter. Had a pretty good spring for the Rangers before they let him go. And Duffy chases a slider, and it's 1-2. Duffy, when he first came up with the Giants, looked like he might be a star, but he's run into a lot of physical issues, including a torn Achilles a couple of years ago that required surgery. And
that's not recommended.
DJ LeMahieu on deck. And Duffy fouls it back.
This is the best slider I've seen Oswalt have in a Mets uniform.
He's locating it
right.
well. Yes, to the right-handers, absolutely.
Breaks late.
'26-year-old from San Diego, 7th-round pick by the Mets in 2012. Rushed to the big leagues a couple of years ago, and he really wasn't ready. And now trying to find himself a niche.
Corey's been throwing that up and in fastball too, Ronnie, which is kind of a little sneaky upstairs, and it's out of the strike zone. He did 2 of them to Sanchez when he struck him out on that fastball away. It sets up that outside corner for him.
One-two coming to Duffy.
Yes.
And it's in there for a call. Strike 3. Got him looking at a fastball. Second time in this inning, he's gotten a call 3rd strike. And that's his 3rd strikeout of the night.
That's paint your wagon right there. That's knee-high outside corner.
Like Gary said twice, it could have been 3 times. He just missed on a 2-2 fastball away to Luke Voit.
That was a little dart right there. Double bull.
So 2 out and 2 on, and now DJ LeMahieu, who hit a bullet back to Oswalt and was thrown out his first time up. First at bat for LeMahieu since returning from a bout with the coronavirus. We are seeing some players return after having to sit out, most notably Freddie Freeman, who might have gotten it the worst of any player that we know of so far. Freddie talking about how his temperature spiked at 104.5 and that he was just praying that he'd be able to survive.
He's probably scared to death.
Well, it just gives you an idea how scary it is. I mean, a lot of young people feel as though that they are invulnerable, but when a talented and in-shape athlete like a Freddie Freeman can get it that badly, hopefully that's a message to everybody just how dangerous this virus is.
You know, the Yankees acquiring LeMahieu, I thought was brilliant. Usually the Yankees stack their lineup with left-hand hitters. They learn to pull with that short right field porch. But here they went after a right-hand hitter, and we've seen him over the years, a batting champion, a gold glover, and a right-hand hitter that goes to the opposite gap, which Yankee Stadium is perfect for him.
26 home runs last year, a career high. In addition to hitting .327 and driving in over 100 runs, up and in, and it pops out of Rivera's mitt, but no advance.
You know, he finished fourth in the MVP voting, and what made him so valuable to the Yankees last year is what Gary documented. They had so many injuries that he moved around the diamond. He played first base, second base, and third base a lot.
I mean, when they signed LeMahieu, they were not expecting him to even be an everyday player. They gave him a 2-year, $24 million deal. They figured that he'd, work into the lineup here and there, but he became as important a player as they had last year. And a half swing on a slider away, 3-2. Well, there's the MVP voting. I don't think a lot of folks on the East Coast understand just how good Marcus Semien was last year in Oakland. But Trout won himself another MVP with Bregman right on his heels.
Got 2 shortstops on that list.
3 if you count Bregman.
Yeah, right.
Played a lot of shortstop last year when Correa was hurt. With the runners going, it's grounded down to third, and McNeil will go the long way with it, and that retires the side. So Oswalt works around a walk and a hit after 2. Yankees 1, Mets nothing. You can subscribe to the Mets YouTube channel, get behind the scenes access, exclusive interviews, classic videos, amazing moments, and more at youtube.com/Mets. Corey Oswalt, 47 pitches over 2 innings, but acquitting himself nicely despite the first inning home run by Aaron Judge. Ahmed Rosario takes a fastball for a strike from Jordan Montgomery as we start the 3rd inning. Rosario 1 for 4 last night, had a 9th inning triple, hit it into the left field corner and legged it into 3 bases. That drew a big cheer from the PA system.
Yeah, I was going to say from who?
They're still figuring that stuff out. And that's line foul, 1-2.
It's almost like you need a DJ with a soundboard, right?
Well, that's really what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, what they've done is they've taken the sound effects from the MLB The Show, and there are a whole bunch of them, and somebody has it in their hands, and they're trying to match the sound to the moment. But it's a work in progress. Nice fastball by Montgomery to strike out Rosario. That's 4 strikeouts through the first 7 batters for Jordan Montgomery.
Again, you notice that, Gary, after the strikeout of Rosario there, catcher Sanchez throws the ball right back to Montgomery. That throwing around the infield is one of the, I don't know, it's part of the game of baseball. But
so 1 out and nobody on. Now Brandon Nimmo hitting 8th in the order. Nimmo led off last night, went 1 for 4. Also stole a base, scored a run. By the way, you mentioned Sanchez not throwing the ball around the infield. Have you noticed that they've done with Gary Sanchez the same as the Mets have done with Wilson Ramos? Got him down on a knee, pulled on the ground to the right side. Easy play for LeMahieu, and he gets Nimmo for the 2nd out. I mean, it's kind of a similar circumstance right now. A big, strong catcher who sometimes has trouble framing that low pitch, and they're trying to get him down lower to do so.
Yeah, they're getting him down lower, and also the ball that gets by him, there's no one on base, so it's not an issue. He won't be able to do that with runners on base.
Right.
He looks in pretty good shape. I mean, he's always been one that they've criticized him, the Yankees, late in games, getting a little tired, a little loose, and sometimes they called him lazy behind the plate. They've been on him to pick up his game defensively, but he can hit.
34 home runs last year in under 400 at bats for Sanchez. Rene Rivera at the plate for the Mets. He was just added to the Mets 40-man roster today. And he grounds one to the left side, and Gleyber Torres takes care of him in an easy inning for Montgomery against the lower third of the Mets order. Mets go down on 7 pitches, 1-0 Yankees. They held a moment of silence at Yankee Stadium before the game tonight to honor the memory of Congressman John Lewis, who passed away this week, one of the great civil rights icons and a man known as the conscience of the Congress, passed away at the age of 80. And also, longtime New York Post photographer Anthony Causey, who passed away from the coronavirus several months ago, much beloved in the New York area by everybody who covers sports in this town, as Judge pops one up to Alonso for the first out in the bottom of the third. And certainly a well-deserved moment of silence for both of those gentlemen who are giants in their fields in their own ways. So Oswalt gets a first pitch out to start the bottom of the third after Judge took him deep first time up. And now Gleyber Torres, who had a base hit to right center his first time up.
Well, I'm liking the fastball of Oswalt more and more, particularly when he goes up and in on those right-hand hitters. It runs up and into them, and he's been able to get it above the letters where he can't get hurt and establishes the inside corner for him.
That's with a full shift on against Torres. And Oswalt getting some good mileage out of his breaking stuff tonight.
How many swings and misses has he had so far?
He's mixed his pitches up well. He hasn't relied on one particular pitch. I thought this is fun to watch.
Up and in, low and away, Keith.
You never, Gare, I'd like to rewrite the book, but I'm out of ideas.
There's a couple of words at the end of that phrase, but
and Torres just able to waste that one. I mean, it could put all of you analysts out of business if we can, refine the idea of the game to up and in, low and away. Hey, we've had a major development.
Yes.
They've just turned off the fan.
Very nice.
Oh, that's nice. So that low pitched hum that was not the fake crowd noise that you were hearing in the background, now it's gone. And Torres hits one on the ground toward the middle. Nice backhand play by Cano, but a wide throw. Torres takes off for second, and he'll make it safely. Well, Cano got the start of the play right. A terrific backhand play going behind the bag, but the errant toss puts Torres at second base.
And I probably think it's going to be a single and an error to Cano on the throw. That would be a home book base hit.
I mean, a good throw would have had him, but he was off balance.
Yep, that could be a two-base error.
They're going to call it an error all the way.
Two-base error.
Yep.
Boy, they've been making Pete do a lot of diving over there at first base the last 2 days.
Well, last night, Max Moroff made 4 separate throws that Pete had to try and contend with. 2 of them went for errors. So a runner in scoring position with 1 out. Now Giancarlo Stanton, who struck out his first time up.
There's Stanton with that closed stance. Remember, when he came up, he was an open stance hitter.
And he changed that really in his MVP season in 2017 when he hit 59 home runs.
Right. And I think the second half of the year, Gary, he made the adjustment. And that's a radical change when you go from he was just as open as he is closed now. And that's a radical change to make midseason. But boy, oh boy, he just took off.
Well, he signed that 13-year contract with the Marlins, but they dealt him in the midst of it. 267 home runs as a Marlin. That's a franchise record. Won the MVP in 2017 and then became a Yankee the next season.
And hit 59 home runs at that ballpark, too. It's a big ballpark.
It only seems as though he hit all of them against the Mets.
Oh, he hit some. We've seen him hit some bombs. I love the line drive home runs he hits because he stays level on the pitch upstairs. And when he connects solidly, most guys, it's a double in the gap. With him, it's a 1-iron into the seats.
Stanton now 30 years old. And he bounces one on the ground to short. Rosario will make the play to first as Torres crosses to third. And that's the second out. So 2 on the runner at third, and now Aaron Hicks will bat. And there's Oswalt going to the rosin bag. Pitchers are carrying their own rosin bags this year. So you see 2 of them at the back of the mound. One is Oswalt's and one is Jordan Montgomery. When they come out of the game, they take the rosin bag with them.
He almost grabbed the wrong one.
Which one is, where's the distinguishing mark? How do you know?
It must be a feel thing, Keith. Hicks grounded out to third base his first time up. And he pulls one on the ground. And an easy play for Alonso to retire the side. An error and 1 left. Corey Oswalt continues to perform well. Which rosin bag? Tyro Estrada comes into play second base. DJ LeMahieu just back a couple of days since his bout with COVID, so he plays 3 innings and comes out. And Estrada, who played last night, comes in to play second base.
Yeah, Estrada pinch ran and then got a base hit late in the game.
He was the guy that Alonso threw out at third base, trying to go first to third on an errant pickoff throw. Jordan Montgomery's faced the minimum over the first 3 innings. He walked Conforto in the second, but then picked him off, and that's been the Mets' only base runner. So top of the batting order as we go to the 4th with Jeff McNeil, who grounded out his first time up. And Jeff takes a strike, so that's 2 straight at bats. He has taken the first pitch. What's going on?
Yeah, he didn't like that call either.
Sean Barber, the home plate umpire tonight. Last night we rotated home plate umpires. Tonight the plan is to have one guy call all 9 innings behind the plate, and that is Mr. Barber, who does not appear to be wearing. Is he wearing the shield? I can't tell. Can you see the shield? Must be.
We're not getting help from the yes director. Yes, he's definitely got a shield. I would think that is
nice up and in fastball, and Montgomery gets McNeil.
Yeah,
and there is the shield. So he's got the shield.
Yeah, I would think that's mandatory.
It's 5 strikeouts, first 10 batters for Jordan Montgomery. Meanwhile, while we are here at Citi Field watching the game from the Bronx, we also have another venue covered, and that is the SNY studio in Lower Manhattan, where the extraordinarily well-dressed Steve Gelbs is going to join us in just a moment as Pete Alonso takes a strike. Steve, I have never seen you look better.
Well, Gary, I have never looked better, so that makes 2 of us. And I will say that I feel like I have to report in a different way from here, maybe like I'm delivering the evening news. So if you'll bear with me for a second, you were talking about Jeremy Hefner a little bit earlier, his impact. How about this? Jeremy Hefner, pitching coach extraordinaire, diving into the analytics, but not overloading his players with them. What do you think about that?
I'd like to know who you were doing just now.
Tell us.
It was a mix. What, Rather, maybe? Is that a Dan Rather?
Oh, well.
It was more that than David Brinkley. Yeah.
I think you should stick to your own personality.
All right, so I'll stick to my own personality then and deliver the actual story. Gary, you were discussing as Alonso strikes out how Jeremy Hefner is that perfect mix of someone who played recently but has really, gone all in with the analytics. And speaking with the pitchers, the reason he's connected so well with them is that he understands the analytics, but he really doesn't hammer them home. He uses them as a tool to teach, just in layman's terms, the way that any coach would coach normal pitching. And so Steven Matz was saying last year, they had all the access to the analytics, and he basically ignored them because he said, okay, great, I have vertical drop. Well, what does that mean? How do I change that? How do I alter it? And what Hefner's been able to do is take the information, he knows the information, and just teaches the guys how they can do different things pitching-wise to make their analytics play a little better.
That's something you would have welcomed, Ronnie, if it had existed in your day?
Oh, absolutely. I'm a little afraid that I would have gotten too far into it, Gary, and then ended up with a paralysis by analysis. But I would have welcomed any of those things to try to better my game as Cano swings through the fastball by Montgomery.
I've seen you go down rabbit holes, Ronnie.
Yes, I do. I do. It's not a pretty sight either.
1-2 coming, and Cano fouls off the fastball. Montgomery, meanwhile, is looking spectacular for the Yankees. 6 strikeouts through the first 11 batters. Jeremy Hefner getting on the phone. Corey Oswalt's throwing 58 pitches through his 3 innings so far. And Cano rolls one toward the hole, and that sneak through for a base hit. So Cano down in the count, got the off-speed pitch, and has the first Met hit of the night. A 2-out single for Cano, and that'll bring up Yoenis Cespedes. You notice when Louis gives his signs, you're not technically supposed to touch your face, but I guess if you touch your mask, it's okay.
Yeah, right. I mean, all this stuff is new to everyone and tough. The signs from the manager to the catcher or to his base runner have been the same forever. Everyone's got to learn some new tricks.
Here's Cespedes, who grounded out to short on the first pitch he saw. This time he takes a strike from Montgomery. I was talking to Louis today about, dugout etiquette. And, we had a couple of shots last night of players getting pretty close to each other without the social distancing. And he said, look, it's hard. You come into the dugout, you're used to interacting with your teammates in a certain way. And it's going to take constant vigilance and reminders for guys to social distance. And sometimes it's almost impossible.
Well, when Judge hit the home run, he came into the dugout, and even though he was given some kind of congratulations, it was half-hearted at best.
So when the Cleveland Indians won their game in Pittsburgh last night, when they did their handshake line, they did foot taps, like foot fives, kick fives.
Wow.
It looked rather awkward. I mean, you kind of have to, you have to time your steps to reach each teammate with the proper kick five. I'm not sure it's going to catch on. 2-1 to Cespedes. And Yoenis takes up an in, 3-1. Hunter Strickland, who just signed with the Mets before summer camp, getting up in the bullpen. Strickland, who spent some time with the Nationals last year.
Pitched in the postseason.
And Cespedes flies one out to right center. Playable there for Judge. And he puts it away to retire the side. Cano with the Mets' first hit, but he's left stranded. Still 1-0 Yankees. We are. The game you're watching tonight is 11 miles away across the Triborough Bridge.
Saludos,
In the
saludos.
air to left field off the bat of center.
Aquí estamos en el jueguito de Interliga de los Mets y los Yankees. Cada vez que hay una pausa, pues vamos a interactuar con ustedes, ponerle el banner de nosotros y pues así podemos interactuar un rato. Saludos por ahí a Edward, a Harold, me escapa, no quiero que me escape ninguno. Harold, Edward y vi otro por ahí que se me Ricky Rodríguez, saluditos, saluditos. Vamos a continuar con la acción. Los Yankees ganan 2-0 en la parte, creo que está la parte alta de la quinta, en la parte baja de la cuarta entrada. Así que sigamos disfrutando del jueguito.
Off-speed pitch.
Nos vemos ahorita.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt on that one. He knew he hit it.
He's hit them often enough. He knows when they're hit, especially when they go up on that second deck.
Well, Gary, you described it. 34 last year and less than 400 ABs. That would be well over 20 in this 60-game truncated season.
So here's what we've calculated. Last year, there were more players hit 30 or more home runs than ever in Major League history. Right? They shattered the record. I think it was 57 different players, 30 or more home runs. So what's the equivalent of a...
Vamos a darle aquí a saludito a la señora Nancy Nieves. Buenas noches, se ve súper bien, gracias. Aquí estamos para servirle, mientras podamos transmitir uno que otro jueguito, lo vamos a transmitir. Sea de los Yankees, de los Mets, de Boston, el equipo que sea, siempre y cuando tengamos la señal, lo verán por aquí. Así que gracias por compartir con nosotros. Así que sigamos disfrutando de la acción, de lo que nos gusta, del béisbol de la Grandes
All the
Ligas.
teams, winning teams, postseason teams, except the Mariners.
Always the Mariners. 3-2, and he walked him. So Boyd walks for a second time. Tom Smith has come in to play left field, so after Cespedes spent 4 innings patrolling in left, didn't have any chances out there. He takes the rest of the night off, and Dom comes in to play the outfield, checks his defensive card, see where he should play against Brett Gardner. Just for reference, the 58 players who had 30 last year, the old record was 47 30-home run seasons. And that was in 2000, back when steroids were at the forefront.
All very modern history, baseball history.
Hunter Strickland continues to get ready. Oswald in 66 pitches. Porcello threw 68 in the game last night. Gardner had a base hit to right field his first time up. And he lifts this one out to left. Smith easing back onto the warning track, and it's off the fence beyond his reach. Over to help out is Nimmo. To third goes Boyd. He'll stop there. Pulling it at second with an opposite field double is Brett Gardner. And so it's gone poorly for Oswald here in the fourth after 3.
Brett Gardner dándole super duro la bola, un doblete de Brett Gardner, corredores en segunda, corredores en tercera. Brett Gardner le dio sólido, un poquito más y tenía ese cuadrangular, pero no todo puede ser como nosotros queramos. Pero ahí estamos, Brett Gardner, 2-0 en la parte baja de la cuarta. Pues sí, mis amigos, estamos transmitiendo un jueguito interliga entre los Yankees de Nueva York y los Mets de Nueva York. Es raro, ¿verdad? Decir que los dos equipos de Nueva York jueguen interliga. Es bueno. Ahí sabemos el material que tiene cada equipo. Obviamente en otro hay más juegos. Si podemos más tarde para transmitirlo de por la noche, sabe que lo vamos a hacer. Estamos aquí para ustedes. Buenas noches a Nancy, buenas noches a Edward, buenas noches a Harold y a los que se siguen conectando. Están en break, mis amigos, por eso es que estamos nosotros aquí. Perdonen el ejemplo, pero aquí estamos, haciendo lo que se puede. Pero en cuanto al jueguito, ha sido bastante bueno, un jueguito bastante parejo, de pocas carreras. Esperamos que se dé un buen juego de principio a fin. Obviamente un jueguito interliga, pues van a utilizar a todo el mundo, están probando. Pero ahí estamos todavía estamos en commercial break, así que ya mismo volvemos con ustedes.
With Seattle last year for 4 games and then 24 with the Nationals, pitched in the NLDS against the Dodgers, gave up 4 runs in 2 innings pitched.
In fact, there's probably no pitcher in baseball who more wants to get back to the postseason than Hunter Strickland, because he's had a fairly nice career at times, but the postseason has been his undoing. 13 innings in postseason play with the Giants and the Nats, 9 home runs in those 13 innings.
That's shell-shocked.
Matt Duffy will lead off, his former Giants teammate, and he fouls off the slider off the mask of Rivera, 0-1. Strickland's had some issues to deal with the last couple of years. He punched a door and broke his pitching hand in 2018. He had a lat strain in 2019 and missed 4 months. And then when he came back in August that year, he was working in the weight room in Pittsburgh, and he dropped a weight on his nose and broke it. That's when you're having bad luck.
That or he got bad hands.
Or maybe dropped the weight a little.
Or maybe he wasn't being spotted quite the way he should have been. Maybe it's on his teammate.
But hey, all kidding aside, though, he's always had great stuff, 95 plus, slider. Drew Smith up in the bullpen now, but he's always had a hard time throwing strikes.
Mm-hmm. Ahead 0-2, and he misses away to Duffy. Well, you can see he still throws hard, 96 miles an hour. He was with the Nats in spring training, but after baseball was shut down in March, the Nats let him go, and the Mets signed him 3 weeks ago. Brought him to camp about the same time they signed Jared Hughes, who still has not been to Mets camp. He and Brad Brock have been the two relievers who have been conspicuous by their absence. And Duffy is down on strikes for the first out. The Say Anything podcast returns new and improved as Keith joins Doug and Andy to talk about all things Mets baseball. New episodes every Monday and Thursday. Subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast.
Is that twice a week, Garrett, did you say?
Are you appearing twice a week? For a
I
limited
thought I
time only?
I only signed up. I thought I only signed up for one night.
Better get your agent on the phone.
Here is Tyro Estrada getting his first at bat of the night. Came in to replace LeMahieu at second base, and he goes after a slider out of the strike zone. 0-1. Estrada had an at bat last night in the ninth inning against Daniel Zamora and had an RBI single. Tyro Estrada, Aaron Boone said before the game tonight, very much in consideration for a spot on the Yankees 30-man roster. Versatile player. And he tries to hold the swing, and he went around. C.B. Buckner with the call, and it's 0-2. Well, Strickland coming in with runners at second and third and nobody out. A strikeout of Duffy, and now ahead on Estrada 0-2 with Aaron Judge looming on deck. Mets playing the infield most of the way in against Estrada. Couldn't get him to chase that breaking ball, and it's 1-2.
Garrett, how are you doing over there with this this road broadcast?
I'm learning a little more every minute, Keith. The biggest problem is figuring out where to look.
I think it's been seamless for you. You sound like you're at Yankee Stadium.
I sound like I'm that far away from you, Keith. I'm only about 20 feet from you, not 11 miles, as the crow flies. No, it's different. I mean, I've got my monitor, which shows the entire field. I've got my monitor that shows what's on the air, and I'm trying to work out where I should be looking when. I don't know if you guys are having the same issue. Swing and a miss. He struck him out, and so Strickland with back-to-back strikeouts, and now a chance to avoid further damage in the inning.
You know, Gary, it's interesting in these scrimmage games, you get an opportunity if you're the Mets manager to put a veteran pitcher in a circumstance where you need that strikeout, and Strickland is 2/3 of the way home.
Now he's got Judge. Now in a regular season game, you'd have to make the call as to whether to walk Judge and pitch to Torres. That's kind of a frying pan or fire situation. Here they're going to have Strickland go after Judge.
I would not be inclined to put another man on base.
Yeah.
You just go after the Judge.
I mean, this is the kind of lineup where you just don't have a whole lot of room to breathe. Voit at third and Gardner at second with 2 out. They don't overshift the infield against Judge. And it's grounded foul. 0-2. Here's the home run by Judge. StatCast AI powered by Google.
Pedestrian for Judge.
Yes.
But still a point.
It's almost like a can of corn for him.
That's right.
Maybe pedestrian, but that's a long walk.
Yes, it is.
Well, Strickland right on the verge of pulling quite the Houdini act. Hello. And Judge pops it up a mile high. Cano retreating to call and puts it away to retire the side. Quite a job by Hunter Strickland as he comes into a second and third no-out jam and gets out of it.
Yeah.
To try to confirm it with my eyes and realize that, well, there's nothing happening on the field where we're located.
Yep. You're not alone in that one.
So we've got this shot, which I'm finding more and more I'm using primarily because it most mimics what I'm used to seeing looking out from the booth at the field. It's not quite as crystal clear as it would be if you were seeing it in person, but in high definition, it's not bad. Conforto grounds one out to second, where Estrada's there to field it. And that's the first out.
That's going down pretty quietly against Montgomery so far tonight.
He's been impressive. Yep. He's thrown his fastball, and he's thrown inside. He's gotten in on the hands of a lot of Met hitters, and he's got a slider that he can work and a good changeup.
And he's doing it efficiently, just 51 pitches through the first 14 batters. J.D. Davis, who struck out his first time up. And Montgomery gets one in for a strike. J.D. DHing tonight. And the breaking ball fouled off. He got away with one, and it's 0-2.
Yeah, good cut by JD.
The assumption is that most of the DH responsibility in this first year of the universal DH will belong to Yoenis Cespedes for the Mets, but they've got plenty of options in that regard, and JD is certainly in that mix on days he's not playing left field or third base. He gets another one to hit and hits it out to center field, but Hicks is there to make the grab for the second out. So 2 out. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by your local Ford stores, by Citi, proud partner of the New York Mets, and by Land Rover, above and beyond. So 2 out and nobody on. Now Ahmed Rosario. And he goes after an off-speed pitch, 0-1. And Jordan Montgomery has been front and center tonight for the Yankees, trying to solidify the 5th spot in the Yankee rotation. And he has given no indication that that's going to be any issue for him. The Yankees have Garrett Cole at the top of their rotation, James Paxton, Masahiro Tanaka, Jay Happ. And if Montgomery makes the rotation, that means the Yankees have 3 lefties in their 5-man rotation. That's ripped down the left field line. A base hit for Rosario. It goes back to the wall, and Rosario will pull into second base with a 2-out double. Second extra base hit in 2 nights for Ahmed, a triple last night, and now a double pulled down the left field line tonight. And the Mets have just their second hit.
Ahmad has a very fast bat. Turns on that fastball in and stays relatively level. That ball was above the belt. Boy, he is just really turned into a fine major leaguer.
So the Mets get a runner into scoring position for the first time tonight. And now Brandon Nimmo, who grounded out his first time up. Yankees are already 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position tonight. The Mets getting their first opportunity with a runner in scoring position. Yankee bullpen is quiet, so they're looking to get Montgomery at least through this inning and maybe one more. Chopped on the ground. Montgomery off the mound quickly, spins and fires just in time to get Nimmo, and that retires the side. Thought they were waiting for a challenge. manager Aaron Boone, so we'll see whether he's done. Gave up just 2 hits over 5 innings and struck out 6. A very impressive outing for the left-hander trying to bounce back from Tommy John surgery. And speaking of guys bouncing back from Tommy John surgery, this could be one of the big stories for the Mets during this summer camp, the return of Drew Smith.
Yeah, I think of all the right-handers that throw hard, Smith was the one we were more impressed with until he had his injury.
27 appearances 2 years ago. He was impressive and now gets a chance perhaps to be ready for opening day, which he would not have been had the season started on time. He was behind all the other pitchers in spring training, but was able to rehab himself to the point where when summer camp began, he was up to speed. And he looked great in an inter-squad game on Thursday night, and now pitching here at Yankee Stadium, or there at Yankee Stadium.
96 miles an hour.
Meanwhile, in the Yankee bullpen, Jonathan Loaisiga begins to throw, so it looks like Montgomery will be done after 5. Gleyber Torres leading off for the Yankees in the home 5th. He is singled and reached on an error, 1 for 2. And Torres smacks one on the ground to third. McNeil with the double clutch throws him out 1 away. Doesn't matter where you put Jeff McNeil. He gives you a credible defensive effort. Second base, third base, left field, right field. He played them all last year, and he played them all well.
He sure did. And I was impressed with his outfield play. I mean, he's really an infielder, and he just played a really nice right field. He's very intelligent, Gary. He never threw to the wrong base, was never missed a cutoff man, accurate arm. He's just so versatile.
And even learned how to bounce off the side netting.
Yes. Where was that? In Washington that he did that? I forget.
It was on the road. I don't recall offhand. Oh, it was in Chicago against the White Sox. That's where it was.
That's right.
Yep.
Good cutter there by Smith.
Stanton got one in the middle of the plate but fouled it back. Mets got Drew Smith when they traded Lucas Duda in 2017. They sent him to Tampa Bay. Smith came the other way in that deal, made his big league debut with the Mets in 2018, and was a candidate to make the team out of spring training last year before the elbow went bad and he had to have the Tommy John surgery. And he strikes out Stanton for the second out.
Well, Stanton's having a tough night. He has not looked good at the plate. He's got the fishing gear on.
His weight, well, Smith here first throwing. Nice compact motion. Tiny little dart of a slider cutter on the outside corner. His weight is on his heels, Stanton, right now.
He's one of those guys, and we've seen plenty of them. He can be as hot as anybody, or he can just be futile for stretches at the plate. Here's Aaron Hicks, and he takes a fastball for a strike. Well, we talked about Hicks coming back from Tommy John surgery. New home plate umpire Roberto Ortiz. We were told Sean Barber was going to do all 9 innings behind the plate, but apparently not.
I thought Sean Barber called a very fine game back there.
We mentioned Hicks coming back from Tommy John surgery, not missing a game between the last postseason game and the first regular season game. Our stat guy, Dave Freed, has done some intrepid reporting. If Hicks plays opening day, it will have been 273 days to come back from Tommy John. It will not be a record. In fact, the record is held by a pitcher, which is just phenomenal to me. Ken Daly in 1986, 223 days from Tommy John surgery to his return.
Wow. What year was that, Gary?
86.
Yeah, Ken Daly threw hard.
Lefty reliever for the Cardinals.
Darryl touched him off the scoreboard, off the bird in St. Louis.
85.
Yep.
So that's probably what required him to get the Tommy John surgery.
Well, I was just thinking he probably came back so quickly because there just wasn't a lot of rehab kind of history, right, with
Right.
Tommy John. So when you felt better, you came back.
Yeah, he was a hard thrower, had a big curveball, came up with the Braves, I believe. I remember him as he was very young with the Braves. Hard thrower. He hit me in the collarbone one time, right in Shea.
And the collarbone.
Well, he kept throwing me fastballs away, and I got a couple base hits to the opposite field. And I guess he figured I got to throw him inside, and he drilled me right in the collarbone.
Two, and up and away. Full count to Hicks.
I haven't seen too many changeups from Smith before the injury, and that was one there.
He used to throw a curveball,
Yeah.
but it looks like he's ditched that for a slider now since he's come back from Tommy John.
He dropped one breaking ball on Hicks early in the count on the outside corner.
3-2 coming, and he sails that one up and away. So after retiring the first two hitters, a walk to Aaron Hicks. You know, the Yankees have had 27 consecutive seasons in which they've had a winning record. Think about that. 27 consecutive seasons, which is not a record. The record is 39 straight winning seasons, which the 1926 to 1964 Yankees put together.
So you're going from Babe Ruth, Gehrig, to DiMaggio,
To Mantle.
to Mantle. Yep, Maris. That's a pretty good run.
Here's Sanchez, who parked one on the second deck in left field his last time up. And Smith misses with that slider ball one. Monument Park in center field in the Bronx. Paying tribute to so much of that Yankee tradition.
Back in the day, that was in play.
We had the three monuments that were on the field at the old Yankee Stadium.
Yep.
Sanchez hits this one out to center field, playable for Nimmo, and he puts it away to retire the side. Strong inning for Drew Smith. We go to the 6th, 2-0 Yankees.
all over the place. They just chew you up. I'll never forget that. I go, where am I?
By the way, Jackson to El Paso, 1,037 miles on I-20.
Wow.
1,037 miles.
Yep. How about Memphis to El Paso?
Davis gets jammed and rolls it out to Duffy at third. He handles this one cleanly and makes the play. 6 up and 6 down for Loizaga. 5-0 Yankees. To see how much you could save. With opening day on the horizon, join the best baseball insiders in New York for the latest on the Mets and Yankees on Baseball Night in New York, presented by Tri-State Cadillac Dealers, weeknights at 6 p.m. only on SNY. Coming up later tonight on Geico Sports Night, right after the postgame show, and be sure you keep it tuned for complete post-game coverage. We'll have much more on tonight's game. The hockey's getting ready. The football's getting ready. The basketball's getting ready. The baseball is being played. With opening day for the Yankees coming up on Thursday, they're going to be playing the Nationals in the Thursday opener. And then the Mets get their season started on Friday at Citi Field against the Braves. Ali Sanchez comes in to catch for the Mets. So the Mets have now matched the Yankees. Each team now has a catcher named Sanchez.
two games on that opening day. Cole against Scherzer, Yankees and the Nationals, and Kershaw against Cueto, Dodgers against the Giants.
Seems so strange that it's not Bumgarner, right?
Right.
Now at Diamondback. Here's Giancarlo Stanton facing Chasen Shreve, and he takes a strike. I thought that was an interesting deal by the Diamondbacks to take a pitcher like Bumgarner, who is clearly on the backside of his career, 33 years old, and sign him to a 5-year deal. It's just something that a lot of teams are not doing now in terms of older players and giving them long-term contracts.
Maybe they thought he brought more than what he's going to bring on the mound to that ball club. Winning ways, maybe. I don't know. Think there's any chance he'll hit when he starts a game?
No.
No, okay.
I mean, they might use him as a pinch hitter at some point, much like the Reds will use Lorenzen. And another long drive. This one is way out of here. This one off the bat of Giancarlo Stanton. And so the Yankee barrage continues. Their 5th home run of the night as Stanton goes deep against Chasen Shreve to make it 6-0. 100% of the Yankee runs tonight have come on home runs.
Well, we saw earlier in the game he was struggling on that ball moving away from him. But with the left-hander Shreve, Keith, anything coming in comes into his wheelhouse.
And he got that little sweeping breaking ball. And this Yankee ball club is impressive. Oh, that falls up and belt high and over the outer half.
Estevan Florial flies one out to right center. And Conforto will take charge of this one for the first out. Well, we mentioned that Shreve has backward splits. Stanton was not impressed.
Well, this one just kind of floated right in there in full extension of the arms.
Wow, that's a long way.
I don't know if I've ever seen a ball up there.
It became a bleacher creature.
Here's the roll call.
Rolling down the hill. One step at a time. Gary Sanchez. Sanchez delivered a long home run of his own in the fourth inning.
Let me tell you, the Yankee lineup here takes some hacks. Big cuts.
Hellacious.
My goodness.
Only one home run last night. That was Clint Frazier, who hit one on the second deck at Citi Field, but the Yankees have not gotten cheated tonight. Scorched down to third, and McNeil has it behind the bag and throws out Sanchez 2 away.
Why did they do the cheer on an out?
I don't know.
I don't get it.
They're still trying to figure it out, Keith. It's spring training for cheer coordinators, too. Or summer camp, anyway. Judge twice, Sanchez, Voit, and Stanton have all homered for the Yankees tonight. Stanton hoping for more reasons to smile this year than his injury-plagued season last year. Here's Voit, who's had himself quite the night. A couple of walks, and then a home run over the center field fence against Drew Smith in the sixth. Only twice all last year did the Mets give up 5 home runs in a game. They've already given up 5 tonight. The Yankees had 10 games last year where they hit 5 or more home runs. Jeremy Hefner trying to shake that off. Don't worry, Jeremy. The guy pitching Friday night, he's good.
Count.
Missed it earlier. Jacob deGrom threw a simulated game at Citi Field this afternoon. 60 pitches over 4 innings. Did not allow a hit and struck out 9. Good to go for the opener on Friday afternoon against the Braves. Miguel Andujar out on deck to pinch hit. And a check swing foul ball, and Voigt's still alive.
Just in case his teammates didn't know how good he is, he let them know.
Firsthand. I mean, it's one thing to watch from behind him or from the dugout, but to watch from the batter's box probably gives you a whole deeper level of appreciation. He's the best in the game right now. The Yankees feel as though they have the ace to match deGrom, and wouldn't it be delicious in one of the 6 regular season meetings this year to have deGrom and Garrett Cole go head-to-head?
Yes, it would.
Two coming to Voit, and missed outside. Voit has now been up at the plate 4 times, and he's worked a full count in all 4. He's always been a high walk, high on base percentage guy, and he's been that tonight. And Duhar on deck to pinch hit. 2 out and nobody on. And Voit takes strike 3 called. Shreve got the call at the knees. That's his first strikeout, and it ends the inning. Stanton's home run extends the Yankee lead 6-0 after 7.
We're kind of getting taken to the woodshed here, aren't we?
Oh, my goodness.
Getting a little
inning. Iannetta replacing Gary Sanchez behind the plate. Ahmed Rosario leads off for the Mets. Rosario has the only Mets extra base hit tonight, a double to the left field corner in the 5th. Facing Jonathan Loaizaga, who allowed a base run on an error and has retired 6 in a row since. Other changes for the Yankees. Tyler Wade is now playing shortstop. Miguel Andujar is in left field, and Zach Granite has taken over in right. And Rosario fouls one off, so only 2 Yankees who started the game, Voit at first and Duffy at third, are still in there. There's Wade, the shortstop, who played second base for the Yankees last night. Seth Lugo getting ready in the Mets bullpen. He will probably get the last 2 innings, and it will be 2 innings because the plan is for the Mets to pitch the 9th inning regardless of the score. So even if the Mets are trailing after 8.5, they will have a bottom of the 9th. Rosario floats one down the right field line, and that falls in for a base hit. He takes a hard turn, but he'll hold there as Granite throws in behind him. And Rosario has his second hit of the night, a flare to right. So the first hit off Loaizaga and just the 3rd Met hit of the night. And Rosario has 2 of the 3. And now the rookie catcher, first Brandon Nimmo, and then Sanchez behind him. Nimmo is 0 for 2 tonight, grounded out twice. And he pops one foul, or pops one out to left field, where Andujar eases back to make the play. And that's the first out. So Nimmo, first pitch swinging, flies out. 1 out and 1 on. And now Ali Sanchez will get a chance with that. Sanchez, 23 years old, from Venezuela, played in AA and AAA for the Mets last year, hit .261 overall. Took over behind the plate for Rene Rivera, who went 0 for 2 tonight. Sanchez began his pro career as a 17-year-old with the Mets back in 2014. And Loaizaga sinks one low, and it's 2-1. Loaizaga looks sharp.
Yeah, he's got a live arm. He's got a lot of sink and run on his fastball. Good changeup. Breaking ball seems to still be a work in progress.
Spent parts of the last 2 years with the Yankees, but with shoulder problems last year, limited to just 15 games, 4 starts, and 4.5 walks per 9 innings. Ground ball toward the middle, chance for 2. Wade with the turn, and it skips on by Voit, and safe at first is Sanchez. Estrada got it to Wade on time, but Wade, throwing errantly to first base, cost them a chance to end the inning.
It's tailor-made.
So the inning continues, and a chance for Jeff McNeil, who's had a rough night at the plate, 0 for 3, a ground out and 2 strikeouts. What we need at some point is to see if Jeff can channel his virtual Jeff.
Oh, yeah,
if
right.
you remember, we did the simulated game on MLB The Show. We had Jeff on as a guest, and his virtual self hit 2 home runs in the game, including one while he was in the virtual booth with us.
Yeah, it was interesting. The highlight of us doing those games was when McNeil was the analyst. That was the highlight.
Well, he was the guest.
Yes.
Guest. Okay.
You didn't even have to go to a higher chair, Ronnie.
That's right. That's so nice in a virtual world.
You know, this year, if we have a guest,
Yeah.
it will be probably a virtual guest, and you will be able to sit in your regular chair.
Okay. You thought that was strike three? Did you see that movement by McNeil?
Yep, and it was a changeup, and it was meant to be away, and just missed the inside corner. Jeff, you can tell, is not really comfortable at the plate. Struck out twice, which is unusual. 0 for 3.
A remarkable season last year, really two different seasons, a high average first half, a high power second half, both equally effective. And he pops this one foul. Jonathan Holder up in the Yankee bullpen. They've got their share of behemoths in that pen. One-two coming. And he rolls one down to first. Easy play for Voit. And that retires the side. A leadoff single and one left. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Yankees 6, Mets nothing. And Seth Lugo will pitch in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Just a great season last year for Lugo. Look at those stats: 104 punch-outs in 80 innings, 2.70 ERA. Might have had maybe, what, 2 bad games all season long, maybe 3.
Guy who wants to start, probably could close, and most likely won't do either. And might be the most valuable pitcher that the Mets have, aside from they'll face Miguel Andujar leading off in the bottom of the 8th. Andujar started last night in left field, had a couple of hits, drove in a run. And he lifts one in the air to shallow right. And out goes Beckham to get it. One pitch and one retired for Lugo.
Last time I saw Gordon Beckham play, do you guys remember? We were in Chicago.
Yeah, the tying pop-up.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember my voice cracking a shade.
That's right.
It was 2 out in the ninth, if I recall correctly.
You're right.
Might have been Murph who hit it straight up, and it landed about 10 feet in front of home plate. Here's Matt Duffy, who's gone 0 for 3 tonight, lined into a double play his last time up. And Lugo popping that fastball on the inside corner. Lugo brings so many weapons to the table as a relief pitcher. First of all, how many relief pitchers wind up the way he does?
Yeah.
Hands over the head. I mean, the full old-fashioned 50s windup.
And he has 4 pitches that he can throw for strikes anytime in the count.
And he gets him with a slider. 3 pitches take care of Duffy, and Lugo looking like he's in mid-season form, has retired the first 2. Watch SNY Mets games on any device. Just visit SNY.TV or download the NBC Sports app today for live streaming coverage of every SNY Mets game. So 2 out and nobody on. Now Tyro Estrada up for the 3rd time. And he takes a slider below the knees. Lugo was in 61 games, 61 games last year, and in 25 of the 61, he worked more than 1 inning. And that, of course, is his value, and probably the reason that he would not be called upon to close, because he's got so much value as the guy to bridge you to the closer with multiple innings.
Well, it's all possible if you have a closer.
Curveball hit down to first, blocked by Alonso. Nice recovery for the backhand toss. And Lugo's got himself a 1-2-3 inning on just 7 pitches. On to the 9th we go. Mets down 6-zip.
But he was a guy that could go more than an inning for Aaron Boone.
Didn't have his best season last year. He had some shoulder issues that shut him down the last 2 months. Pete Alonso leads off in the 9th and fouls the breaking ball off. 0-1. So the Yankees have gotten some stellar pitching tonight. Jordan Montgomery went the first 5, no runs, 2 hits. Jonathan Loizaga went the next 3, no runs and 1 hit. Mets have been completely stymied. The Yankees have hit 5 home runs. And don't forget, after the top of this 9th inning is over, the game will not be over because there will be a bottom of the 9th. And Paul Sewald is warming up in the Mets bullpen to pitch that bottom of the 9th. And Alonso takes a strike. I thought maybe they'd stretch Lugo out to 2, having thrown to 7 pitches, but there is Sewald. Well, how often do you see McNeil and Alonso hitting 1 and 2 in the order go 0 for 7 with 4 striking? Not too many days like that in the course of a season for the Mets. As Holder bounces the curve and it's 1 and 2. Jonathan Holder out of Mississippi State facing Pete Alonso from the University of Florida. All SEC affair. 2 and 2. Holder's a couple of years older than Pete. Perhaps they might have faced each other in college. And the slider off the plate, 3 and 2.
Gary, you're talking about Holder's season last year, not great, but the season prior was very good as he appeared in 60 games for the Yankees.
3.14 ERA in that 18 season. Alonso reaches for the cutter and rolls it out to second. Estrada makes the play for the first out. Well, it's been a powerful night for the Yankee Bombers. Started out with Aaron Judge in the first inning.
This was probably the least of all the home runs as far as distance. This was a El Bomberino right there, our second tank. And there's a central, and this is another Vinny Bomberino right there. Oh my gosh, that was the biggest.
Judge, Sanchez, Voit, Judge again, and then Stanton with the coup de grace. And it's 6-0 Yankees as we play in the 9th.
Last one, 448 feet.
Gordon Beckham batting for the first time. Former first-round draft pick from the White Sox out of the University of Georgia. So another SEC showdown. Beckham's kicked around a lot the last few years after the White Sox let him go. Seattle, Giants, Braves, Angels, Tigers. And now getting the summer call from the Mets. Last year played for Detroit. Hit .215 in 83 games with 6 home runs. Never quite been the player he was envisioned to be. Finished 5th in the Rookie of the Year balloting in 2009 and really has not been up to that standard since. But he's hung around and now at age 33 hoping for another crack. Mostly has been a second baseman in his career, but he can play short and third as well. And Beckham can't hit the bender, and that's the second out. So 2 out and nobody on. Now Dom Smith will bat for the second time. Don't forget there will be a bottom of the 9th, so stick around. Don't want you to miss one exciting pitch of this extended game. I'm assuming that the Mets are not going to score 6 runs in the 9th, but you never know.
You never know.
You might know.
Wasn't that what Joaquin Andujar said? You never know.
So you can sum up baseball in one word. You never know. I can only hope that Joaquin was as much fun to be around as he was to listen to.
His warm-up pitches in between innings alone were hilarious.
One tough Dominican. Yes. That's what he called himself.
Oh, I played with him. I know all about it.
Dom flied out to right in his only at bat. Mets have been limited to 3 hits tonight, 2 for Rosario, 1 for Cano, and that's been it. Next game for the Mets against outside competition, opening day Friday afternoon. And Dom strikes out. Good inning for Jonathan Holder as he gets the Mets 1-2-3 with a couple of Ks. The game would technically be over, but we're going to play another half inning. Bonus round. That high throw. So Guillorme at third base. Seth Lugo, who pitched the 8th and threw only 7 pitches, will go back out there to start the 9th, and they'll have Paul Sewald ready if Lugo throws too many pitches. His first assignment is going to be Zach Granite.
Is that Granite or
No, it's Iannetta?
Yeah.
Yep. We have gotten a ruling, by the way, from the Elias Sports Bureau. Our friend Bob Waterman, who knows of all such things, says anything that happens in this half inning will not be reflected in the stats. Of course, it's a spring training game or summer camp game, so there really are no stats. But if there were, anything that happens here does not get recorded.
I don't know.
So pretend that you're not seeing this, even though you are.
Okay.
So if Iannetta gets a hit here, his batting average will still be 0-0-0.
That's not fair to Chris.
So Keith, you can officially suspend your scorecard.
I'm not keeping score this half.
I think that's a wise editorial decision.
I'm not counting any of the stats, to tell you the truth.
This game has been unique in so many ways, and this is just one more.
I think you've been spectacular doing play-by-play, Gary. I really it's like we're actually at Yankee Stadium. I think you've been terrific.
I have no idea what you're talking about. All I know is my eyes are darting in every direction. I keep looking out at the dark field of Citi Field thinking that something's happening there, but there's nothing there. That's what I'm looking at when I look out at the field.
When you got 4 days off, Gary, let's get that stress level down.
I feel like my eyes are bloodshot.
It was Tyler Wade up for the first time after Lugo struck out Iannetta. And the non-pitch is high for ball one.
You know, this screen that we got, Ron, in front of us
Yes.
is so big, and we're close to it. It's like being in the front row of a movie theater.
That's
My eyes are almost cross-eyed. It's right here.
yeah.
And, you know, we got to keep score here.
My neck is a little sore.
And I'm finding myself like almost cross-eyed right here.
Like Clarence the cross-eyed bear?
Things we have to go through.
I'm so sorry for your difficulty. That's a foul ball.
No, it's a fair ball.
I thought he signaled foul.
No, fair ball.
Fair
That's
ball.
okay. It's a 2-3 put out.
You can tell by Wade's reaction that it's a fair ball.
All right, fair enough. Doesn't matter. It doesn't count.
Oh, that's right.
But there are 2 out now. So 1 more out to get for Lugo in this non-half inning. They've already announced the final totals. The official score is right now on the press box PA at Yankee Stadium, announcing the official totals of a game that's still going. Because things were not surreal enough. Eric Kratz will try and keep the non-inning going for the Yankees. Batting for Stanton in the DH spot. And Lugo picks off the outside corner. And it doesn't seem to matter to Seth whether the inning is official, unofficial, people in the stands, TV broadcast from afar. He just continues to rack up outs and easy outs. And he takes care of Kratz, and this thing comes to an end. 3 strikeouts in a 6-batter stint for Seth Lugo. And the Yankees have won this game 6-0 with an extra half inning tacked on for good measure as the Yankees hit 5 home runs and beat the Mets 6-0. Jordan Montgomery pitched brilliantly for the Yankees, 5 scoreless innings. The Yankees hit 5 home runs, including a pair for Aaron Judge as they sweep this 2-game summer camp exhibition series, winning last night 9-3 at Citi Field and winning tonight in the Bronx 6-0. The game summary brought to you by Ford. Friday, it starts for real. The 60-game sprint, opening day for the Mets. Citi Field, 4:10 start. Our coverage begins at 3 o'clock Friday afternoon. Jacob deGrom against Mike Soroka at 3 o'clock. Our coverage begins on SNY. Now for Keith Hernandez and Ron Darling, I'm Gary Cohen, halfway between Citi Field and Yankee Stadium. We'll see you Friday from Citi Field for opening day. Post game coming up.